Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and as you can see, I don't know why it's so damn blue, a blue background, shit. See if that'll do anything. Yeah, that's a little bit better. As you can see, thank you to Mr. Michael Keane. That was a nice thing there. I do still have my Expendables poster, my good friend John have over there actually. Fucking right there in the corner. Until at least until I find a better spot for it, because it's pretty packed on that wall. But just this is like my favorite film of all time right here, so I like that. It's a nice background. And sorry about the glare on it, but finally got a new frame, poster frame for that, and it was really nice. Sorry. But anyway, getting to the meat of the matter. Final Destination 5. Just got done watching it. Rented it from Mr. Movies, place I work at. Now, I wasn't sure how to do this review, whether to talk on the original films or not, or to talk about this film first and then talk about the original films. Which I have some of them right here. And if you want the short end of it, I'm not a fan of Final Destination 5. I was not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the Final Destination. I do enjoy the first one a lot. The second is probably my favorite. The third film is the downhill slope. I think this is where things, start to take the turn for the meh. So that's the short end of it. But I might as well talk about the other ones, and maybe I'll put down there the number where I finally do talk about Final Destination 5. But anyway, get into the film. First film, Final Destination, as you can see right there. I do highly enjoy this film. It's directed by James Wan. Same guys who is written and directed by. It's written by Glenn Morgan and James Wan. These guys helped write a lot of episodes for the X-Files, the TV show Millennium with Lance Henriksen. They created a show I did not see, but I know it was called Space Above and Beyond. I know they worked on the movie The One with Jet Li. I think this is probably their best film, Final Destination. And I just highly enjoy this film. I love the idea. I mean, I enjoy the cast. Devon Sawa, who I like Devon Sawa. Devon Sawa I like as an actor. I'm not sure what he's done lately, but I always remember him as Casper. If you remember the live action, he was the voice of Casper. Devon Sawa, and then played the the little boy version of Casper. But I also like him in another horror comedy called Idle Hands that he did with Seth Green. I think that film is actually a lot of fun. I think it's pretty funny. But Devon Sawa, again, I don't know what he's been doing lately, but I like him as an actor. I think he did a really great job here as Alex Browning. You have Ali Larter. She's really good in this film. And then some of their friends, Keir Smith played a real asshole in this flick. And I always forget that you had Sean William Scott in this film, which you actually see right there. I always forget that Sean William Scott was in this. And real quick, it has two commentary tracks, one with actors Devon Sawa, Keir Smith, Kristen Cloak, and Chadi Donello. The other with a filmmaker commentary. You have a isolated score and commentary with the composer. You have two original documentaries. One's a bullshit with Pam Coronado. Sounds like a fucking breakfast sandwich or something. Go have the Coronado at Wendy's. A real life investigator who taps her psychic skills to help crime fighters crack on something. What the fuck is that doing on this movie? I like the other one, Test Screens. The filmmakers and studio executives reveal the process of test marketing and the impact this has on the storyline of Final Destination. I actually like that, how test screenings work. I enjoy that. And I don't mind these cardboard DVD cases. I like the way this looks, too. It has a reflective, sort of blue, like, ominous, see that reflective, like, rainbow color type stuff. I like that, actually. I mean, long story short, Devin saw, like I say, his character, Alex Browning. Him and classmates are going to Paris. They get on an airplane, but he has a vision of the airplane as it's taking off and it's blowing up. And when he snaps out of it, he warns people and he gets kicked off, as well as a few friends and his girlfriend, Allie Larder, and some other friends get kicked off. They think he's crazy, oh, he had a vision, whatever, but then the plane blows up. And, you know, some people think that he's crazy, some people think that he had something to do with it, that he helped make the plane blow up, even though there's no evidence. But then Death starts taking these people out one by one, because Death feels cheated. I thought this was such a... to me, it still is a cool movie, because it's a slasher film, but it's a fucking original slasher film. Think about it. There's not many I mean, I know there's a film that I heard the guys at Dead Pit. I wanted to even mention the guys at Dead Pit, because they're the first ones I ever heard about this film. I haven't seen it. Soul Survivor from the 80s. Apparently, there's a lot of similar things in that film to this film. Not the fact that this completely ripped it off and is a remake of that film, but that there's certain similarities to it. So I haven't seen Soul Survivor. But, not Soul Survivors, that one, not that one, that newer film. This one is from the 80s, Soul Survivor. But, I just like the way the death scenes are done. There's a certain, not technique, but there's a certain thing where, God, I don't know what the hell the idea of it, I don't know what it's called, but it's one of those things where the one thing happens, which causes another, which causes another, which causes another. And it's like a domino effect, but I know it's not called domino effect. There's a certain phrase for it. There's a certain, damn it, I forgot what the fuck it was called though. But either way, the way the death scenes are handled, I know like my friend Effrey's not a fan of these movies. I think because it kind of makes him worried about, you know, what if this happens to me? Like, you know, stuff that you can relate to, like being in the bathroom and then one thing leads to another, and the guy ultimately gets choked to death. Sean William Scott's death scene where he's by the train, and you shouldn't stand by the train, and it just takes his fucking head clean off. It's like the Goldberg, I want to say it's the Goldberg effect or something like that. I know it was actually the title episode of an X-Files. That's why I'm looking up X-Files. The Goldberg variation. I'm not sure if that's the... I think that's what it is. No. I know it's something with Goldberg. I swear. Yeah, I can't remember. For some reason I want to say it's the Goldberg thing, but I can't remember what the hell it is really. Damn it. Anyway. But the death scenes on here are really entertaining. They're really interesting. No, it's not Goldberg, because damn it, that's a fucking guy who does music, damn it. Shit. Well, anyways, Rube Goldberg. Rube Goldberg, that's what it was. The Rube Goldberg machine, contraption, device, or apparatus, that performs a very simple task in a very complex fashion. It's like a chain reaction. That's what it is, the Rube Goldberg. Sorry that took a while, but it just would have been gnawing at me. I know I talked about for 10 minutes for nothing. But either way, interesting death scenes. There's a mood to the film. Really like Devon Sawa's performance. The death scene, of course, that really gets a lot of people is that girl who just walks and doesn't cut. I think this is why. She walks into the street talking. It doesn't cut, and then BAM! Just gets hit and splatted. And you're like, oh shit. Like, you don't even see any cuts or anything. It's like, she's there, then boom, next minute she gets hit. You know, oh, fuck. You know? But imaginative death scenes. This film definitely has a mood to it. A lot of the film is shot at night, or is shot for nighttime. It really gives you the hint that any, you know, just normal things in your room, your kitchen, you know, a gust of wind, something on the floor, something in the ceiling cracks that makes this thing shift this way, and then makes this thing go this way, which ultimately makes this go this way. And that's because there's a loose wire, and then it goes to, this made the water flow, and then you get electrocuted from it. That chain reaction is really interesting to see, especially the first time you see a film like this. And it really is a slasher film. It's invented death scenes one by one, only the killer is death itself. It's a really, in my opinion, original type of slasher film, which is hard to do. Plus, again, I like Devon Sawa, I like Ali Larter. One of my favorite parts of the film is when Devon Sawa like keeps himself in the room and tries to, you know, the times he tries to cheat death, and how like he makes this room kind of like booby trapped against death, like you know, tying this here to the door so that the door doesn't just fly open and this and that. Or the times where he slips and falls, and then he's about ready to hit these branches, and like barely misses these branches that would gouge his eyes out. I really like that. And to be honest, even though I said this was probably my favorite, I mean, both of these share very close spots. I know in my 69 favorite horror films I put this one up top, but I do appreciate this one as well. For it was more trying to be more scary, more atmospheric, more moody. And it's weird. I put this in my, and I still really enjoy this film, but at the same time, after watching some of these, especially after watching Final Destination 5, if this film was a oneer, I would have no problems with it. I like the way it ended. I mean, it ended with a question mark, in a way. You know, you think things are okay, then the asshole, you know he's probably going to get it. But with Devon Sawa and Ali Larter, there is the question mark. Are they going to be okay? Are they not? There's a, until you see the sequel. But really solid first film. I don't really have any problems with the first film. And then you get to the second film, which is directed by David R. Ellis, same guy who do Snakes on a Plane and Cellular, two films I enjoy. But he also did Final Destination 4, which I don't like, and Shark Night, which I haven't seen, but I've heard bad things. And pretty much this film is pretty much the same, but I guess from this to this there's definitely a difference in the fact that this film decided to go just more balls out, more fun, more outrageous with the death scenes, very inventive death scenes. They just said, fuck it, let's just blow the roof off. I think that's why I was entertained by this film. Basically, this girl here, I think her name is A.J. Cook, I believe. She sees a vision, and one of the good things about this film is the highway sequence is literally one of the best fucking scenes involving a highway in film history. I'm not even kidding. Um, it was just fucking amazing. I know even Tarantino loved the fuck out of that scene. Quentin Tarantino even loved that scene. He even mentioned that in the thing I read up. Uh, it just, the carnage where you have this truck with this logging that falls apart and there's a cop car behind. There's actually this guy here. Might have been Michael Lands. Might have mispronounced his last name. But the log goes right through his face and it fucking goes out the back window and you see blood chunks. And people are flipping over and practical cars and a motorcycle sliding. And he gets boom. And you're like, holy shit. And there's more. And they're stuck and a fucking semi crashes through and flipping over. And it's just fucking like, holy shit balls of fire. What the fuck is, you know. Just an insanely well-directed sequence that, you know, when you're seeing pretty much a slasher film, which is what it is, you don't think of scenes that, and it's definitely the best of, you know, when they have the premonitions. I mean, the airplane sequence in the first film is definitely the scarier of all of them. But this was the most well done of all of them. I mean, the highway crash sequence is just insanely fucking well done. And just insanely brutal and gory. And like, holy shit. And then, of course, she wakes up in the vision. I like the reference to highway to hell. You can't have enough AC/DC. I even like the way it was done where she's like, oh, we gotta get out of here, we gotta get out of here. And the way it's done, because I remember for a few seconds, like, what the fuck is going in slow motion? And like, she sees the logging thing, and then it's like in slow motion. She's like, what the fuck's going on? And then you just see the cop pulling the girl away. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And because her friends are still in the car, and this boom goes into her car and just blows it the fuck. I'm like, oh shit, you know. And I really like the characters in this film. Like, God, I forgot his fucking name. Should have had Wikipedia for this so I can remember his name at least. But I really enjoyed. The main characters are fine. The main characters are fine. You know, I didn't have that much of a problem with the main characters. They didn't annoy me. They didn't piss me off. I was fine with them. But I also really liked some of the supporting cast. I really enjoyed Jonathan Cherry, who's not really the stoner dude. He's there. I'm not sure if you can even see that well. But like, I liked the little bit that he said where, you know, he wonders if he's going to be next, and he tells the lead girl, if I it's like, if I don't make it, can you like, gives her like his keys, like, could you go into my room and sort of pick up my drugs and my nudie mags and stuff like this, so that my mom doesn't find them. I don't know why, it was funny, but I thought it was actually kind of sweet as well. You know, I thought it was funny, but it was sweet. But yeah, I found it was just kind of I thought it was kind of a sweet thing. I also did not mind you would call him maybe the token black guy, T.C. Carson. But I didn't mind him because I thought sometimes he had like a valid argument. And plus his scene led to a really interesting concept, which I'll get to. But yeah, they bring Ali Lauterbach. She's in the like mental hospital or something like that. I just maybe it was voluntary. Because the one thing I don't like about this film is that they kill off Devon Sawa's character. And that you basically find out that he died because a brick fell on his fucking head. I'm like, what? I thought that was really lame. Just lame. That was pretty fucking lame, you know? Like, really? He does all this shit in the first film and he got killed because of a falling brick. And I don't think it was because they said, you know, Devon Sawa said no to coming back. It was for, I think it was for another reason. I don't think it was because he said, no, I'm not coming back, but I think from the commentary or from something, it's like they just decided, well, you know, we would have. I guess the original script had Devon Sawa's character, but they just decided to make it Ali Larter's character. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it was what the big deal was. I mean, maybe as they say in the commentary. I mean, people will probably tell me this is why. Maybe he didn't want to do it. I don't know. But I think what I liked about this film, it definitely had a big energy to it. The death scenes were just out there. Like the sort of annoying kind of teen kind of kid chasing the birds, and this big fucking painted glass just falls on him, and he just crumples to a bloody splat. You know, oh shit. Like the woman getting her hair caught, and then her head caught in the elevator doors, and then getting her head cut off. You know, Jonathan Cherry's death scene where the wire fence flies and cuts him to pieces. You go, oh shit, every death scene. Every time, once in a while when I'm in a car, I always think of this, where it's the airbags, they pop up and there's a pipe over like here, but when it pops up and it reveals her head been slammed to the pipe behind her, so she had a big old pipe through the girl's head. But like this other guy, this I think what was it, T.C. Carson was his name. It really led to an interesting idea. His character's name was Eugene, where, of course, once again they find out that, you know, oh, you're in order. He takes a gun, and there's 6 bullets in it, and none of them fire because it's not his turn. And they even mention in the script, I mean in the commentary, I remember this part, that was an idea that they hoped that they could go further with. The fact that if it's not your turn, you're in a way invincible. Because it's not your turn. Death has its plan. It's not your turn to die, so you can do whatever the fuck you want and you won't die. I thought, wow, that's an interesting idea that they really never did in any of the next 3 sequels. They do little hints, but they don't. But anyway, what was I talking about? Not much. Just a highly entertaining film. Again, the ending leaves room with a question mark. You know, you still have your characters. There's a really dark humor, black humor, which I'll spoil, where they realize that a guy helped save this kid who was going to die, and the 2 leads look at each other during a barbecue, and the kid gets, this like teen kid gets blown up, and it lands in their food, and they scream. Like the mom screams, and you have this really cool song. My name is Death. Breath. I really like that song. I think that's a really awesome song, to be honest, at the end credits of this movie. Just a fun film, entertaining. Again, the only problem I have is Devon Sawa and even Ali Larter. Devon Sawa getting killed off, and Ali Larter, by the end, getting killed off. I didn't really like that. But because the ending didn't, like, wasn't so downbeat, the fact that everybody died and everything, then I dealt with it. And I had a lot of fun with it. Inventive gore and death scenes, and I had a lot of fun with Final Destination too. But then, like I said, this is when the shit kind of hits the fan. Final Destination 3. I mean, they have this interesting thing, like, you have the original theatrical version, then you have the Choose Their Fate version. You're in control of the movie, change the course of the film and characters' fates. Really interesting concept. And it's okay, but it's interesting, like, you can even make one character survive. Like, that person doesn't die off in the movie. But I would like to see this feature, and I know they did kind of a similar feature to, I think, the Return to House on Haunted Hill Blu-ray. But it makes me think that, whether it be on DVD or Blu-ray, that'd be a really nice feature. Same with my Harold and Kumar Guantanamo Bay 2-disc, where something will come up and you can choose, and if you choose the other, then it's like stuff that they shot for the DVD release. And I find that very interesting. I think that'd be a very interesting idea, though, if you even went further, like a choose your own adventure story, but do that for a movie. So you're like, oh man, I wish this terror didn't die. Well, you should choose that this terror's going to live, and not only that, he's going to be the hero, or she's going to live and be the hero, or this terror's going to die, or everybody's going to die, or no one's going to die. That'd be interesting. It'd be hard, but it'd be interesting. But Final Destination 3, I mean, it's pretty much the same fucking thing. You got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who went on to star in The Thing pre-made pre-cum. Only it's at a, fun, right there, roller coaster. And the roller coaster's going ape shit, and she just screams like, oh, we gotta get off the roller coaster. And they do, and they get picked up one by one. And really nothing much else to it. There's really nothing much else to it than that. It's the same shit, different day. And part of me is like, I thought the film was watchable, like okay. I mean, you got some decent death scenes, but you got, the whole thing with the roller coaster. I know some people have problems with it. I was fine with the roller coaster, but I will admit, it definitely wasn't as strong as the first two, especially not as strong as the second one. Like, the highway crash sequence was definitely more badass than the roller coaster. But at the same time, okay, roller coaster, interesting. But it's not like, oh my god, this is fantastic, this is wonderful, this is, excellent. But I liked it okay. I didn't mind it too much. And, the film, the cast is weaker, in my opinion, than the first two. Mary Elizabeth Winstead does okay. The token black guy in this film is actually the asshole of the group. Is this his real name? Texas Battle? Texas Battle is his real name? Texas Battle, that just sounds fake. I know he was much better in Wrong Turn 2, which I actually like that film more than this film. But you have some interesting death scenes. Like, you have the tanning salon, when they're getting burned, death scene. You have one of the best ones is probably either the girl who gets the fucking nail guns right into her face like this, or the guy who's like, the leads are in a car, like, trying to order fast food. Someone behind them is being an asshole, and this truck is out of control. They know they gotta get the fuck out of the way. It hits the back of this car, and the fucking engine flies out and digs into the back of this guy's head. Like, wow, holy shit. Tony Todd isn't in this film. The only time you have Tony Todd is he's the voice of one of the carnival rides. I think when they're entering the roller coaster, like, you hear a voice, like, welcome, that's Tony Todd. But this really was the case of, okay, it's getting a little bit old. I mean, you have some fun death scenes. I mean, the asshole touches bow, he's pumping. I was like, yeah, the waist. he thinks he's gonna die, but then instead of ways going this way, they go this way and pop his head like a balloon. But it's like, okay, this is getting a little bit old. And the ending I didn't care for. I mean, they're at this carnival to save Mary Elizabeth Winstead's sister, and this guy like blames them for this person's death, and he gets killed. It's like months later, they're on a train, a subway train, and she has a vision once again, and she realized, oh shit, we gotta get off this train, but it's too late, and you pretty much know that they all died. I don't know. A lot of times I just hate endings like that. It's just personal preference. So, some interesting features. Pretty good documentary on the making of the film. Also, something called Dead Teenager Movie Feature, an in-depth look at the subgenre of horror films. It's all around you. Kind of a creepy animated short that they did. Commentary. So, I mean, some parts of this is a time waster, but at the end, it's kind of like, okay, this is getting kind of old, and I wasn't really a big fan of the ending. The characters weren't really that much. I don't have the Final Destination, Part 4. Because Part 3, I'm like, oh, okay. But I was actually kind of, okay, Final Destination 4, cool. They even made a fucking tribute to the films using the 4th film trailer. I saw that film and I thought it sucked. I thought it had the least satisfying opening. The Daytona race, because it's not really something that you're, at least, we have a fear of going on a plane, and especially on the highway. Maybe that's the thing. Even roller coaster, you're more liable to go to a roller coaster than probably, well, just more personal wise. I'm more liable to go on a roller coaster than go to Daytona or, a NASCAR race. And, kind of some shoddy CGI, once again, guy has a vision. Once again, shit's going down. People getting, tires are flying into people's faces and shit. And then, oh, I'm out of the vision, we gotta get out of there. Then they have to figure out there's a pattern. They didn't kill one by one. Even the death scenes I thought were kind of lame. I mean, a guy, he's in the pool, and there's like this little suction. I guess he gets sucked in, and then over here it pumps, and there's blood that shoots out. This guy who has like this tow truck or whatever, he like gets dragged, and then somehow, some way, he gets put on fucking fire, and then the thing blows up. This really stupid one where there's this mechanic guy, and this van like gets loose, is coming after him, and he gets out of the way. But then something happens, and there's like a gas canister hits the guy, flies out, hits the guy. It was so hard, he goes against the chain link fence so fucking hard that for some reason it's a chain link fence, or normal chain link fence, folks. And it, like, pieces of him get cut out through the fence. They just push against the fence, and like you see pieces of them like slip out in CGI through the fence. And I'm like, what? Really? I don't. The only death scene I liked was the escalator. There's a death scene with an escalator, but. What I also found funny was that there was a scene where people are watching a movie in the movie theater and they see something blow up, and it's from The Long Kiss Goodnight. I recognize it's a bridge blowing up, and I recognize it's the fucking Long Kiss Goodnight scene at the end of Long Kiss Goodnight. It's a fucking scene they're watching. I'd rather watch that movie than The Final Destination. Or Part 4. And I don't know, I didn't give a shit about anybody. The death scenes weren't all that. And the endings, I hated the ending. Everything's okay. Oh, wait a minute. We need to. Oh, and then for some reason, this fucking truck crushes through. They're having coffee and shit. Then it turns to just looking at them in the skeletons like you're looking at a fucking X-ray machine, and you see them get broken, the bones break into pieces, and then end the movie. And I don't give a fuck if it was in 3D. I didn't want to see it in 3D. I didn't care. Then they made Final Destination 5, which, so that I can, about the 35-minute mark. God, 35 minutes for this shit. Did not realize that. But anyway, at the 35-minute mark, I'm just knowing the time where I'm actually talking about Final Destination 5 for people who wanted to skip. Final Destination 5. Now, Final Destination 1 and 3 was by James Wan, director. Then Final Destination 2 and 4 were by David Ellis. And David Ellis, you did a piss poor job on part 4, I'm sorry. Because there's nothing different about the film. There's nothing to the film. And that gets to this film, Final Destination 5. In 3D. Had a $40 million budget. Made about 40-some million bucks. But it did very well overseas. Made $115 million overseas. So whether that will constitute a sequel, I don't know. Some guy named Stephen Quayle directed this film, and I don't know who the fuck Stephen Quayle is. But I want to find out who the hell Stephen Quayle is now. This film is just same shit, different day. And it's written by one of my favorite writers, Eric Heisterer, who I'm sure is the motherfucker I pissed off because he wrote the theme pre-com and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. But real quick, like Stephen Quayle, he directed Aliens of the Deep documentary. He was a visual effects supervisor on Avatar. So does this guy have nothing to do with any of the Final Destination films, really? Previously? I wonder why the hell did they hire this guy? I guess because he worked with James Cameron. He was a second unit director, New Zealand live action unit for Avatar. Second unit director, really? New Zealand live action? There was live action in that film, Avatar? I don't remember that. But whatever. Even Stephen Quayle, I guess he was a second unit director on Titanic as well. I guess why he did Jimmy Cammy. But yeah, Eric Heisterer. Yeah, this big bad writer. Yeah. You're making fun of me. Well, you wrote a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, The Thing Pre-Com, and Final Destination 5. I saw all 3 of your movies, and all 3 of your movies fucking suck dick. So I'm glad I pissed you off, because you're a shitty writer. And I can say that because I've seen your fucking films. You're a shitty writer. Eat it. Fucking asshole. But anyway. The thing about it is, Final Destination 5, there's nothing to this film. There really isn't. I will admit, there are better death scenes in Final Destination 5 than in Part 4. There are. But they really do nothing else with the film. I mean, people don't say the same thing about other franchises. Nightmare on Elm Street? Hell no. 1 and 2 and 3 are totally different films. They really are. Part 2 is entirely different. That's why a lot of people hate the film. Not just because of that, but I'm just saying it is a completely different movie than Part 1. Halloween 3. Completely different movie. A lot of people hate that film, but I enjoy it. even when Friday the 13th got to part 5, it became different, folks. It wasn't Jason. It was a murder mystery. It was a badly done one, but I still liked the film. I still enjoy the film. I mean, I knew who the fuck the killer was in 5 seconds. More like 5 minutes. But at least they attempted to do something different. So I like Friday the 13th Part 5. But these films, Final Destination, even more so than Friday the 13th, just seem like the same fucking movie. You have characters, you have some big event, and involving a lot of mass destruction or carnage. So by this time, there's not really any suspense because you know that it's done and it's going to be a fucking vision, and then it is. They do that same shot where it goes right into the person's eyeball and it comes out and it's a fucking vision. Only this time it's a bridge. I will say the bridge sequence is much better than... It's probably the third best of the series. Number 1 is the highway sequence. Number 2, I would go with the plane in the first film. And I'd say the bridge is the third. But I think it's much better than Daytona or whatever the hell, NASCAR. I liked it a little bit. I don't mind the roller coaster, but this one looked a little bit better. But, you know, it does this. It goes through this exact same fucking notes. And this is probably the worst cast of any of the Final Destination films. I will admit that wholeheartedly. The first 2 films I liked because I actually liked the cast in these films. I didn't give a fuck about anybody in this film. I thought they were very poorly acted. I'm sorry, I know that's mean, but Emma Bell and Nick D'Agosto, whatever the hell his name is, whoever the hell the cast is, I don't care. Nicholas D'Agosto, Emma Bell, Miles, you know. Probably the only guy I liked was, again, they have the token black guy in there. But this guy I actually liked because he acted normal. He wasn't the comic relief. He acted normal. So I didn't mind him. But anybody else I didn't care about. And the death scenes, I will say, they're better than Part 4. Especially there's a scene with eye surgery and, you know, me having glasses, you know, that eyeball going into... fucking up the person's eye, and then the laser fucking up their hand. Although the ending of that scene was stupid. She just slips and falls out the fucking window. I'm like, really? The first part, though, with the laser surgery, that was a little bit suspenseful. You have a woman doing backflips like she's a gymnast, and then she gets blinded and falls and, like, cracks her back and stuff. I mean, the effect was done well. Yeah, this one that I didn't care for. I mean, this guy who's a real schmuck, steals shit. Goes like one of those massage places, massage parlors, and they put the little needles, and he tips and falls because there's like a fire over here. And then he thinks he's okay, and this little Buddha like falls, and then boom, just turns his head into paste. I would think he would like conk him on the head and made a big dent on the head, but it just, boom, completely flattens him like a potato. At least his head. Oh, one quick thing. I fucking can't believe I forgot this. About Final Destination 4. The one thing I liked about the Final Destination was McKelty Williamson. I liked McKelty Williamson in that film, and I fucking got pissed off that he got killed because he was the one character I fucking enjoyed. I like McKelty Williamson as an actor, whether it be in Forrest Gump or even his little bit role in The First Power. Real like, I think I'm not sure it's McKelty or Michael T. Williamson. Sometimes he goes both. Like Michael T. Williamson or McKelty Williamson. However you pronounce it. I liked him because he was an older character. He had a little bit more meat to him because he has a loved one who's who's dead, who died. I think she died during the opening massacre thing. So he doesn't really care if he lives or dies. And like tries to kill himself, but he can't. And he, no matter what he does, he can't because it's not his time. That was really interesting. I would really love to see where that went. I would love to see that go and then, you know, build up and become a stronger character. And you could really go places with that, but they don't. Instead, he comes out of a scene with the lead guy, and then all of a sudden, just a fucking ambulance going 100 miles per hour that somehow doesn't see these fucking people in the middle of the fucking road, but this ambulance is going 100 miles an hour, just smashes into McKelty Williamson. It's supposed to be a shocker, like, you know, in the first film where the lady gets hit. But they clearly been walking in the fucking middle of the road, and the ambulance didn't even fucking slow down. It went like 100 miles. Ambulance drivers, I thought they're usually supposed to be, you know, careful. That just pissed me off. I mean, that was one good thing in the Final Destination. They fucked it up. But anyway, in Final Destination 5, what other death scenes did you have? You had the girl who flips. You have the massage one I didn't care for. God, this movie's already disappearing from our brain. I'm serious. There's that one. There's that one. This one that I just fucking said. What the fuck was it? Oh, the laser eye surgery. There's another one where you had the guy, I forget what the fuck his name, he's always usually doing comedies. Have you ever seen that comedy Waiting, The Boss and Waiting? He's like, you know, bald, and it's not the guy from Hot Tub Time Machine. He's the guy from Anchorman, and he's like, you've seen him in a few other flicks. He was in Thank You for Smoking. He's been in a lot of flicks. He's in this film. I'm like, what's he doing here? He's usually in comedies. Kind of takes the edge off. His death scene is nice because you have like a big old wrench and it flies off and it hits him in the head and you see a reveal shot and it's like embedded right in his head. Like it right in his head, like where his eyes would be. Come to think of it, I can't remember any other death scenes. Huh. I mean, they try to add one little thing to it where Tony Todd shows up once again to spout shit more cryptic than fucking Yoda. Oh yeah, they did have a little reference to Final Destination 2, because in the beginning when they're on these folks, I guess they worked at an office and they're on some retreat and they're on a bus, they're going through a bridge, and the lead guy sees the fucking logging truck from Final Destination 2, you know, with all the logs in the back. He sees that for a split second. I'm like, oh, clever. Clever, Eric Heisler. Clever. This little thing where Tony Todd basically says that if you kill someone, you'll take their life, and then fucking that's it, you know. You'll take their life, and you know, if you don't live, you gotta give, you know, a death to someone and have the balance be more balanced. Whatever the fuck he's saying. Tony Todd's like characters are just fucking cryptic as shit. And long story short, the guy, he lost his girl previously in the film, and he's pissed off at the lead guy and that his other girl lived, and decides to kill her. And yeah, like this little fist fight thing that you don't give a fuck about, because you don't care about the actors, you don't give a shit about the characters, I don't care about Emma Bell, I don't care about anybody. Little fist fight, and ultimately the guy gets killed because the lead guy stabs him to save his woman. And then, the big twist is you find out they're talking all this time about going to Paris. You find out that it is a prequel. Spoiler alert, I should have said that before. It's a prequel. Because they're getting on the plane from the first film. They're getting on the plane from the first film. And you see footage from the first movie with Devon Sawa and them getting taken off the fucking plane. And when you look at his tickets, 2000, it's the year 2000. Which actually, they don't really shoot anything that makes you think otherwise, so. You're like, yay! How clever! See, this is why we can say that it's Final Destination 5, and how we can still call the fourth one the Final Destination. Because you see, that still is the final one. This is a prequel! I hate prequels. I'm tired of prequels. Prequels can suck my fucking gold-plated dick. I'm sick of prequels. More like pre-cum. I don't like pre-cum. I don't like prequels. I mean, I know if some people like the film, that's cool. I don't mean to rain on your parade. If you like the idea that you turned out to become a prequel, okay, I mean, on one hand, there is a little part of me that's like, okay, that's a little bit interesting. Okay, but that just rules out by, I don't give a fuck. The rule of don't give a fuckness. That's the symptom. I don't give a fuck. The don't give a fuckness symptom just creeps into my brain cells. Don't give a fuck. So, of course, they get killed with the airplane crash. And the one guy, remember that black guy? I said the totem black guy that I kind of liked? This asshole kept fucking with him. And this thing happens where he tries to save the guy. Because there's something above him. He pushes him out of the way, but the guy falls through something. And gets killed, gets hooked. So, you assume that, well, okay, he took that guy's place. And the last shot is he's at a bar. This guy comes up and says, well, it's for the best. And the guy goes, what do you mean? Well, they did an autopsy. It seems he had something in his brain, brain vessel was stocked up or something. And, a clot or something. And he could have been killed any day. The guy goes, any day? And then this stupid wide shot with part of the fucking airplane crashing through on top of the black guy. I mean, I'll give the series grad one thing. And they know what they are. Because the end credits of Part 5 is a montage, pretty much a music video montage of all the death scenes of the films to AC/DC's. If you want blood, you got it. So, I mean, with 3D stuff that, of course, I didn't see the film on 3D. It wasn't released, at least here, on 3D. So I didn't give a fuck. But, even with AC/DC at the end, I can't condone this film. I mean, if you like the film, that's cool. I like this film. Honestly, they should have stopped it with this film. I mean, Part 3... Part 4 sucks. Part 5 sucks. Even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they didn't even get to Part 5. They went to 4 films, and Part 2 is a very different film from Part 1. Hellraiser 2 is a different movie than Hellraiser 1. Fucking, Die Hard 3 is a different film than Die Hard 1. I mean, there are a lot of sequels who really did go more of a different way. Even Friday the 13th, Part 5, he was trying to be a murder mystery. Part 6, it was a zombie and supernatural. And Part 7, it was Terry versus Jason. Jason Goes to Hell, it was completely different. Jason X in space, completely different. Here, though, it's Vision, Disaster, still a Vision, and then them always trying to fucking, What's going on? Oh, I know. I remember that person died first. Them trying to figure out that there's a pattern. I'm like, I already fucking know. I'm watching part 5. I know there's a pattern. It's like you're waiting for the characters to catch up. That's what it is. It's like I spend all my time waiting for these characters to catch up. Just watch death scenes that you probably see on YouTube. And that's it. Cast sucks. The ending sucks. See, go with something completely different. I mean, I like the idea that, okay, if it's not your turn, you can't kill yourself because it's not your turn. So until then, you're kind of invincible. What can you do with that storyline? Be more creative. You know? Make it into an action survival movie where you have someone who constantly is trying to left, right, center survive death. Whether you want to do it subtle or over the top, I don't give a shit. Give me someone who fucking actually lives at the end of some of these fucking movies. And like, Courtney B. Vance, he's a good actor. He's in Final Destination 5 as like a detective. But either I miss something or that character just completely disappears. I swear, again, I either miss something or that character completely disappears during the course of Final Destination 5. Again, it's one of those things that's like, I must have completely missed it because it says there on Wikipedia that he heard the shots, he arrives, but is shot and killed by the asshole dickhead. I completely missed that. I must have zoned out, or when I walked out to leave a piss. Okay, so that's what happened to him. I fucking completely missed that. I didn't care. So I didn't give a shit. So I don't want there to be any more films. If they do something completely off the wall or different or away from the course, man. Even Friday the 13th did that. Don't believe me? Watch part 5 again. Halloween did that by part 3. Texas Chainsaw Massacre did that by part 2. Now No Street Singing by part 2. Go a completely different direction. Either make it an action film, make it, you know, where a guy's trying to survive death left, right, and center. He has some personal vendetta against death somehow, some way. I don't give a fuck how goofy it is. It's going to be more entertaining than these films now. Especially more entertaining than part 4 and 5. Part 5 is just, you've seen it before, and there's really nothing to it. So, sorry that these were so long, but it's reviewing 4 films. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and see you later. Ciao.